Hello everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Megaman 7. In the last part we did the first two Wily stages, and now it's time to do the last two and finish off the game. For the first time, for the last time. Okay, not really for the first time for me, but last time for YouTube, that's for sure, because never gotten near this thing again. Anyway, I got a couple of E-tanks off screen, since I'm going to need them for the boss fight at this stage. Now, the number one thing that you're going to need to do with these last two stages is almost always have the super adapter equipped, especially with this one, since the last stage is really just the final boss in the boss rush. And as if that's a spoiler, there's always going to be a final boss and a boss rush in a Mega Man game. And actually, right here is the effect that, what's it called, Cloudman stage would have had if I hadn't used the snow on that one, the freeze cracker on that one robot. It's actually not that annoying of a gimmick, really. I probably would have done just fine in Cloudman stage with it, but I wanted to show off that you didn't need to use it. I'm listening to this music, and I'm hearing a bit of early Mega Man theme in this. And we're actually coming up on the main gimmick of this stage, and that's the fact that there's, well, as we'll see, quite a few spikes. Also, with the super adapter, I wish you could skip that little transition. It's not too long anyway, but It's a nitpick, really. Heck, Mega Man 6 lets you skip the rush adapter cutscenes. Or not even really cutscenes, more like sequences. And here's the most pain in the butt part of the stage right here. Pretty much you have to, these are pretty much the bombs from like Burstman stage, except for the fact that they're moving, and if you're got an explosion and you fall to the spikes, you're most likely going to die. Safe to say this can be a bit of a pain. Also, this part right here, for some reason, I'm not sure if this is like my emulator glitching or something wrong with the programming, but you can stand on that. I think you're supposed to be sliding on that for some reason. Yeah. Rush jet over here, and yeah. And of course these things return once again. And they freaking killed me! That is some Mega Man 5 memories there. I hated the reappearing, disappearing blocks in that game. And for going this path, you get a free E-Tank, S-Tank, and W-Tank. Like I mentioned before, the S-Tank pretty much is the combination of the E-Tank and W-Tank. Pretty awesome, but they're a bit limited. And now we're finally at the boss of the stage, which is probably my least favorite boss in the game. No, not the least favorite boss, it's not the final boss, of course. This weird flying Oni mask thing. His weakness is the Slash Claw, and you can only hit him in the eyeballs, which is really hard to do, considering you can only hit him at one of 2 points, when he's at the lowest part of his elevation, or if when he shoots the missiles, you can jump on them. However, doing that is, for some reason, a real pain for me, considering they move too fast for my eyes to really keep track of. And yet I almost did it there. Really, this is probably one of the hardest bosses in the Mega Man series. It's not one of the final bosses, actually. Considering how easy of a final boss 6 had. Needless to say, I would not have made it through this fight if it weren't for E-Tanks. Actually, I think the laser is probably his worst attack, considering it can hit you twice as it did in I think I edited out a death that I edited out. This boss fight really, if you know what you're doing, it's actually no problem really. Just be careful if you're playing the 8-bit version, because this boss is really hard in that version. Then again, the entire thing of the 8-bit version is its difficulty. So yeah, that's Wily 3 over with. Not really much to say about that level, it's meh. And now it's time for us to head on over to the final level of the game, ladies and gents. And by the way, as you notice, we're only 6 minutes in. This level's why it's 22 minutes long. And we have this obligatory screen falling segment that every Mega Man game has to have for some reason. Get about 60 bolts total, a few tanks. That's just me showing that I grinded for bolts off screen so I could get the 8 tanks needed. Because this is the hardest final level in the series. Anyway, we're coming up on the boss rush here, so hit the music, Johnson. Come on. Come on, Johnson. There we go. And that was Laura's theme from Silent Hill 2, and by God, I love that game soundtrack. And we're right here in the final part of the stage, and this is probably the hardest final boss in this franchise. Hell, no, wait, it is the hardest final boss in the franchise. Well, aside from the Star Force Battle Network series. Now, it might not look like much, but that's just because this is the first form. First form here is weak against the Mega Buster, and it takes forever to get started. Move faster, Wily! And for some reason he opens his bulletproof window, mind you, to see you. Wily, you're supposed to have an IQ of like 300 something. Why the hell? But yeah, his weakness is the Mega Buster. He'll shoot out these little skull bots you can destroy every now and then, but it's best just to ignore them, actually. You end up doing a lot more to him that way. Probably the thing that hurts him the most is actually you the most in this entire battle is if you look at the bottom of his skull, it has a beard of spikes for some reason, and that actually is quite damaging. Be careful not to hit that. Yeah, not really much to say about this one with the final boss, but the next one... Oh, the next one. And actually, this entire final boss is the reason why I got the E tanks and the W tanks and the S tank, because you're most likely going to need a majority of those during this fight. It's not easy, to say the least. Actually, why am I just now realizing that the many skull things he shoots out are extreme replicas of it? Wow, I am slow. Then again, I'm usually kind of focused on the big guy. And yeah, he's finally dead. And before the next boss even starts, equip Wild Coil. That's the weakness of the next boss, even though you can also hit him with the Diagonal Freeze Cracker. And here it is, the legendary final boss itself. With actually a really nice theme. He goes around teleporting, and then he shoots out these 4 balls of destructions, I like to call them out at you, and then shoots those electric balls down. He also has another attack that he rarely ever does. Thing is with the balls, though, is that they move 3 times, and they're extremely hard to avoid, and they do varying amounts of damage. Fire one causes fire damage, which does the most. Blue one freezes you, and then the ice, well, hello phone, will be destroyed by the electric shock, which really hurts, by the way. And then the electric shock just damages you. In fact, I recommend if you can't get hit, if you're going to get hit by one, get hit by the electric one, considering the damage it does is much less overall. And as for damaging him, hold up when you're releasing a fully charged Wild Coil so it'll bounce up and hit him no matter where he is. Because otherwise, you're going to be here for a while. In fact, the first playthrough, I remember getting really stuck on this guy. In fact, and plus, if you die to this form, you have to fight the entire final boss over again. Something that I don't like about the Mega Man franchise, but that's really the only thing I don't like. I love the franchise overall. It's one of my favorite franchises in video gaming history. Actually, there's a Super Mario World hack out there called Brutal Mario World, and this boss is actually brought into it, which is very painful. Then again, I think the hardest version of this fight is the 8-bit version, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing or not. Also, if you're going to do the Wild Coil strategy, you're going to need a W tank, because it runs out of ammo far too fast for you to do all the damage you need to, because otherwise, it only does about 4 bars of damage. And yeah. I was dreading recording this fight ever since I first recorded the first episode. On December 25th, actually. Because in case you're wondering what date I'm recording this on, it's January 26th. Yeah, I took a while to record stuff. Come on, one more shot! Booyah, mother trucker! I hate this boss fight. The thing is, they try to replicate it in 8, but they don't do as well. Come on, do your usual head bob, blah 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 blah. And as usual, he says he'll go quietly, blah 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 blah. He says he's sorry, but we all know he's not. And I rather like this part of the English dialogue. This entire thing is barely in the Japanese version. I'm gonna do what I should have done years ago. Grammatical failures. And this is really what shows the difference between X and Mega Man, actually. Mega Man himself is still a robot. He cannot harm humans, but they bring this dialogue in for the English version right here, actually. I am more than a robot. This scrolls far too slowly. But pretty much Mega Man is still limited by the rules of robotics, meaning that he cannot harm a human, he must do whatever he can to prevent harm to humans. I believe that's I only know the first one. But X is a free-thinking robot. X being a Reploid can do whatever the hell he wants, and can harm humans if he wanted to. And that should have killed Wily. You can shoot him now, Mega Man. Just shoot once, but... Really? You can just shoot one shot at him. Do it. Do it now. Don't move slowly. God damn it, Mega Man, you hesitated too long and he got away. Damn it, Bass! And as always in video games, after we beat the villain, the base self-destructs for no reason. Why did it do this again? Who knows. And now we have this extremely badass credit sequence with Mega Man walking away slowly from a burning blaze of a castle. Cool guys don't look at explosions. They blow shit up and walk away. But yes, this is the end of Mega Man 7, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it to be alright. Personally speaking, this is a game that I'm half and half on. I love certain parts of it. I mean, especially the music. I love the music of this game. By the way, Shigeru says Shigeaki Sakamoto. This is where they've really started to notice. Actually, they've done that since like 4, actually, where they showed who designed the robot. Because a lot of it was fans from 2 onward. But I love the music in this game. That's the highlight of the game by far. And the graphical style, it's good. It's a bit clunky at first if you're not used to the 8-bits. But the thing is that gets me about it is some of the bosses and some of the levels are just boring. The thing is about it is that the boss patterns from the bosses from 1 through 6, when they get hit by their weakness, they'll continue on with their pattern. You're not going to get interrupted by it, and they're not going to have to start it over. 7 onwards does that, and it just annoys me. It makes some of the bosses just drag on, and it's just, personal nitpick. And of course, the people in the credits still would go by nicknames. And translation-wise, I could have used some work. I mean, I gonna do what I should have done years ago? Super Nintendo game for sure. There's a reason this is not a game that is on my top 10 Mega Man's list, and that's because I just don't like this game overall, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the music, especially the Ghosts and Goblins song. Like I mentioned in Shade Man stage, that version of the Ghosts and Goblins theme is my favorite version of it. Overall, this game does have its pros and cons, but just I have too many problems with it for me to really say it's one of my favorite ones in the classic series. It's definitely in the bottom 5. Although I will say this, Cloudman is actually one of my favorite Robot Masters, and in terms of design, because really, he was just, well, not really Cloudman. Just the thing is, that is the one thing I will give it. A lot of the enemies, or at least the Robot Masters, have very unique designs, and I like the fans that made those, because they are fan-made, as I mentioned before. Also, with how long Mega Man's been walking, you'd think he'd stop running into the same 2 pebbles, and he'd be getting farther away from the fire. But the one positive I have about this game overall is that this is the game that introduced Bass. Bass is actually my favorite character in the franchise. Or at least the classic series. Favorite character in the franchise might be Zero. And Bass is actually an addition to the series that I really liked. A Dark Mega Man practically. You know, thank God it's not Dark Mega from Bound the Rook 5? No, 4. Because Mega Man, for years, until this game, went on without a rival that's not Dr. Wily. And for him to actually have someone that is equivalent in power to him and actually provides a challenge was actually a nice attribute, even though he's not really in the series much. He's only in this, Mega Man Base, 10, 8, and the fighting games that we never got. Heck, in the fighting games, Bass references Zero from X. Because, like I mentioned in X4, Zero is of Wily's creation. But, yeah, this game, like I said before, it has its pros and cons. I like some of the things about it, the other things I just don't. But that's just my personal opinion, yet again. To each his own, and if you like this game, more power to you. Although my least favorite part of it is the box art, which I'm not going to show because it's just that atrocious in the American version. Mega Man is too buff in it! Then again, that's the problem with Mega Man's 1 through pretty much 6's box art. Actually, it's funny, my favorite Mega Man game of all time is where they got a design down pat for the box art. I will say this, I prefer Mega Man 6 over this any day. And Mega Man 8. Not Mega Man 5, that could die in a fire. Actually, thinking about it, this, besides 5 and Bass, and speaking of Bass, Mega Man and Bass, and Mega Man 5 and Mega Man 9 might be the only games in the series I like less than this. It's that low on my list. I'm just a critic when it comes to Mega Man, alright. After playing 6, I've been spoiled to death with it all the stuff it did well. I'm gonna probably redo 6 at some point too, because the video quality was crap in that. Then again, I'm also gonna be redoing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at some point. But yes, like I said before, that is the end of Let's Play Mega Man 7. There are a few things that I could show off screen, like Shade Man's other theme, which you could just look up actually. And believe it or not, there actually is a 2-player mode that you get from actually the end game screen. And as a final farewell, they take that picture. And oddly enough, though, this is Mega Man 2. Mega Man had only had 2 16-bit games on the SNES. I don't count Mega Man and Bass in its original version. There was this and a soccer game, and that sucked. So Mega Man 16-bit era with the classic didn't do too well, in my opinion. X was a lot better with it. But that is it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next Let's Play. And the password I mentioned earlier that accesses you 2-player mode, I believe, is the numbers down at the bottom. I'm not sure which one of them it is, though. It's one or the other. I rarely ever use the password system, so I wouldn't know. But, yes. See you guys in whatever game I have next.